all eyes are going to be on Diablo 4 this weekend as it enters its first official open public beta test. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the thoughts, honest thoughts, and perspectives of some of the more popular content creators when it comes to Diablo 4. My name is Kanon, and if you found this video helpful or entertaining, all I ask is for you to hit that subscribe button that you see there to help me achieve my goal of 100,000 subs this year. It would absolutely mean the world to me. Would also love to hang out with you on my Twitch channel. I'm going to be giving away free copies of Diablo 4 throughout the entire beta test all weekend. So to have a chance to win a free copy yourself, come find me on Twitch. Diablo 4. This could be the game of the year. It could be the game of the decade. It could also suck balls and flop and be destroyed by whoever's running it, Blizzard or the development team, whatever. But what we do know is that the whole world is going to be checking out this game. We're really close to being able to get our hands on it, but we have to wait just a little bit longer. Maybe you're all in and just consuming copious amounts of Diablo 4 content until the beta happens. Or maybe you're just walking that fine line right now, trying to figure out still whether this is a game that you should play or pass on. You've heard some great things, and you've heard some pretty bad things. What have the content creators heard? What do they think about the game?
I mean, a lot. Look, I was a huge fan of Diablo 3. I probably put thousands of hours into it collectively, especially the vanilla version. So whenever Diablo 4 got announced and the video came out, I liked the video. And honestly, I think that like if you go and you look at a lot of the guys that are really promoting Diablo 4 and the people on the team, it seems like they're really excited and are actually like really passionate about it in a way that you don't really see a lot with like just even an average game development studio. So I just started getting more excited about the game.
Diablo 4 is everywhere right now. It's all over YouTube for sure, and everyone's talking about it. I think it's going to be probably Blizzard's most hyped title release in years. I mean, maybe since the original Overwatch beta or launch, probably since then. It's going to be massive, I think, just because people have been waiting for Diablo since they announced it at 2019 BlizzCon, and they had Diablo Immortal before that. People were really waiting for a new Diablo title. So I think I've seen it everywhere, and I think it's going to be pretty huge, yeah.
I have seen and heard everything there is to see and hear about Diablo 4 from since it was released to years before it was. I've been making speculation content on Diablo 4 for years before it was revealed. It is probably the most anticipated game for me of my entire life.
Yeah, I've played the game already, and basically the time that I had, I used to its fullest. I was blasting the game when I had access. And yeah, I mean, I've been following all the news ever since it was announced, and I've read all the blogs and even talked about them, made videos about them. I've been theory crafting for dozens of hours already about all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I'm basically just super prepared and super deep in everything in Diablo 4 right now. So
there are certain things that I like about it, like the fact that Diablo 4 is definitely leaning more towards MMO territory, but you also see on the other side, they're taking a lot of, let's call it inspiration, for lack of a better term, from games like Path of Exile. So all of that looks pretty good. Like I said, I haven't actually played the game yet. I'm hoping the open beta confirms a lot of that. But as always, we'll be, cautiously optimistic going into these things and hope for the best, but call out the worst if we experience that.
I think Diablo 4 has the potential to be the best Diablo game ever, as long as Blizzard sticks the landing. I think we're probably going to get the best campaign we've ever gone in a Diablo game, and then it's going to come down to the end game.
It's one of those things, right? So Blizzard has been through the ringer ever since 2021 with the sexual harassment lawsuit, and then honestly, Shadowlands wasn't that good. Diablo 3 has been effectively dead for like multiple years now. So I think they've really got a massive uphill battle in terms of winning back community favor and community sentiment. But whenever you look at the actual gameplay and everything, I think it looks great. There's not really a lot of bad things that I see.
Based on what I've seen so far, it looks like they're really mixing in a lot of MMORPG elements, exploration elements to it to kind of make it boil down to something more than just spamming your nightmare dungeons or rifts or maps. And I think it's going to be a blast regardless. I mean, the game looks really good, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on it. I think it's going to be a great time with my friends and everything.
With big hype comes big scrutiny. A lot of people are coming into this thing blind, which means that the expectation levels for everyone will be very different. Some people might be hoping that this is some kind of Diablo MMO, for example, while others are going to be expecting some super juiced seasonal dungeon crawling content. What are the content creators expecting out of it?
Well, so I'm sure it's going to do well. Like if we're talking sales expectations, like it's going to be a big and popular game. The commercial stuff aside, like as a game, obviously we're just guessing, but I do like what I've seen. The big question mark I think for everyone still is how are the seasons going to look? You know what I mean? They're doing the season thing. They fully embrace the like modern day monetization, which just means monetizing everything. The hope is, and what they've said is that they're really going to be pushing the seasonal thing. They're trying to get, it's like 3 or 4 seasons a year, they've said. And I guess we'll just have to see like what that comes with, right? How obviously it has to be more than what they did with D3 seasons.
I'm hoping that the game is going to be a light version of Path of Exile, which I do find to be kind of ironic that Diablo 2 came out and then Path of Exile copied Diablo 2 and then Diablo 3 came out and that kind of just did its own thing. And now Diablo 4 is coming out and it was copying PoE, which was copying Diablo 2 in a lot of ways. I think the place that I hope to see Diablo 4 in is an easier, more coherent to understand version of Path of Exile for more casual players that don't have a lot of time to spend 30 minutes like watching a video about a spreadsheet.
That's a good question. I don't know. What are my expectations for it? I think it's going to be a lot of people either really hyping it up or crapping on it because it's not like Path of Exile.
I expect Diablo 4 to be a very well-received game within the gaming industry. I think a lot of people are going to play the game, get the game, play through the campaign. Then I hope that people will keep playing after the campaign, that it's going to have longevity for months and years to come. That's my hope. Is that my expectation? I think of any Diablo game yet, any ARPG yet, this is the one that has the most potential to open up the genre to a wider audience because it has a bit of those MMO overlaps. That open shared world experience, I think, has the potential to bring in people from the bigger genre, the MMORPG, without doing too much, hopefully, to alienate those of us who are more of the ARPG purists.
God, I don't like to go into video games with high expectations because, yeah, I don't approach video games that way. But I am kind of expecting, or my high expectations is that it's a bit more MMO feeling than Diablo 3 was. And if it's anything more than that, I would be over the moon happy. Those are my expectations, to be a bit more MMO experience.
When talking about expectations, it's kind of hard to ignore the Blizzard factor. The feeling towards Blizzard amongst the communities is up and down, hit or miss. But one thing does seem to be consistent though, and that's the more positive outlook on the individuals that are actually working on Diablo 4. Here's what the content creators had to say about it.
I mean, look, it's very easy to say that Blizzard is bad, Blizzard sucks, etc. I do think that Blizzard has not made universally good decisions with Diablo 4. Like, again, I'm not a fan of the restrictions on trading, and I'm also not a fan on the restrictions of respeccing and building new characters. However, I don't really see the guys that are working on Diablo 4 as incompetent. It seems like they're listening a lot to the player base and the community, and it seems like they're actually players of the game themselves. I look at their Twitters and they're tweeting about playing the game, or they're tweeting about talking about playing another game, etc. You know, this isn't some corpa business thing, and of course, at the very top, obviously it is, but at the same time, I think that it's okay, and obviously, like, I can't write a rain check for what Blizzard is going to do in 2 years with Diablo 4. But I think that the question you really have to ask is, how receptive is that community to feedback and that developer team to feedback from players? Because that's what really determines whether a game is going to be a healthy live service game, which is what both of those games are, or an unhealthy one that just keeps trying to chase a new Battle Pass season with new types of FOMO rewards.
My thoughts on Blizzard is I don't know what the fuck's going on, Blizzard. I don't know. You know, I don't know. We'll see. This is the first time they've actually launched like a new title, I guess outside of World of Warcraft, but it's so similar time to time. And Diablo 4 has like been years since Diablo 3. So for me, this is going to be like really how well can they put together a new product and a new game. My confidence in Blizzard isn't super high, but that's the consumer in me, right? You gotta earn back my trust by putting out a good product. So, but I'm rooting for you guys, man. Come on, put out a fucking good game, man. I've been waiting for a long time, so I'm hopefully optimistic.
So obviously the Blizzard of today is not the Blizzard of 20, 30 years ago. It's not the Blizzard that made Diablo 1 or Diablo 2, or even Diablo 3 for that matter. That's not a bad thing, it's just a different thing. So obviously there's always some amount of apprehension when some baby gets handed off to a new parent. But if you do need to have a passing of the torch, then who better to take over a game franchise than people who grew up as fans of that franchise? And that's what I see a lot in the Diablo 4 team. People that during their college days or high school days were playing the heck out of Diablo 2. People that got into the industry hoping to work for Blizzard one day or work on Diablo-like games. And I think looking at everything that we've seen about Diablo 4, you can see that respect for the material that's there.
This drove me to ask the most important question for me. What is the key to success for this game? What are the most important elements? What has to happen for Diablo 4 to be a success?
I think it just goes back to what I said earlier, and that is how they deliver on the season content. And I think the really funny thing about seasons is we know that they're also planning to like release and sell expansions. So they're gonna save like the biggest, most substantial stuff for the expansions, because of course they are. They're no one would buy them if it was the same as the season. So that it kind of in a way has me scratching my head as to how big the seasonal updates could actually be if we assume they'll save maybe the classes and the new zones, say, or a new act for whenever the expansions come out. It'll sell plenty upfront, but the long-term tail, it's all down to the season content. It's all down to how they support it, how they use all that extra money that they're making from all the extra layers of monetization, and how they then roll that into this consistent clip of updates. It's just all down to their updates. It's all down to like how they do their live service stuff.
The key to success, in my opinion, is that they keep the game updated regularly. So they have to schedule of 3-month seasons, and they want to make big seasons from what they told us. And if they actually stick to that plan, I think they're gonna be in a good shape. Basically, the game needs to be changing. They need to make sure that there is like also like a good competitive scene, because this is also what keeps like viewers, stuck to Twitch streams, for example, or like engage people on YouTube and all these kind of things. And if they have like a well-rounded package with large updates regularly, I think it's gonna go well.
I think it's going to come down to the seasons and endgame and being able to retain players and grow a player base over time, as opposed to just have a ton of people, all the people at launch, and then crater off. And to keep people playing throughout a season, I think itemization is a very important thing. Having a robust enough itemization system that is going to keep people engaged in the loot hunt, striving for the better gear, striving for the drops. Those were two of the weaker aspects in general of D3. I think if D4 can fix that, it can be very well positioned.
That's a really good question. It depends how you gauge success, I guess, first of all. I think it's going to be successful regardless. I think they're going to make a ton of money. It's going to be a huge launch, and they're going to do well there. But I think in the long term, ARPG communities are very tight-knit communities. They're very enthusiast communities, and they're different than other gaming communities, in my opinion. I would actually give, when it comes to MMORPGs, I would have a different take. When it comes to ARPGs, they know what they want, and they're very, again, enthusiast players. I don't think you want, I think you really need to make sure you don't neglect their feedback, because in the long run, I think that's going to be your core audience. They're going to be competing with PoE there. And I think if they neglect the concerns of that specific community, it might not do well for them. Similar to what you saw with Diablo 3. So I think in order for them to be a hit success in the long term, definitely listen to the player feedback from your more enthusiast community as the game progresses.
Fortunately for us, we were able to talk to some of the most knowledgeable people in the Diablo community, some who've actually tested the game already. But I still had to ask if they could share whatever they could when it came to their experience with the game.
I am not actually under NDA. I'm one of because I had I did one of the press hands-on events, and so I was able to record and get some coverage of it. So yes, I played a bunch of Diablo 4. We did a couple of videos on the channel. I mean, it's a good game. It's a really fun game. It's fun to play. I like the open world elements that they have with it. I think that's gonna go a long way. It's something that like Lost Ark sort of did, but having the connectedness of the whole world without the loading screens. But yeah, I mean, the gameplay is great. It's an interesting world and setting, and the open world is a big selling point for me.
So back in December, I got to play the Diablo 4 press beta, which was up to level 25, the first zone, Fractured Peaks. So I think it's pretty much the exact same as the beta that everyone's going to get a chance to play. I enjoyed myself a lot. I mean, I've been waiting for Diablo 4 forever. It's my most highly anticipated game. And I think what struck me the most was just how well they nailed the dark, occult, horrific tone and vibe of everything.
Well, I gotta say, the game looks really amazing. So the gameplay itself, the detail, the world building is done in like pretty incredible fashion, in my opinion. And yeah, every class has like its own identity. You can make lots of different builds. There's a lot of potential for like theory crafting and just expressing yourself in your character, basically. And this is really one thing I like about the game. I think there's really so much potential for people to explore and have fun with whatever they want to do in the game. So this is really the best part, in my opinion.
So how much are these guys actually planning on playing the game? What would their advice be if I'm on the edge of buying it or passing on it? Because it might be the game of the year, but it's also not that cheap.
I mean, I don't want to burn myself out on the beta tests. Like, I plan that I'm going to play it pretty much every day, most of the day. I'm not going to try to, you know, make sure I'm maximizing 15 or 12-hour days on the beta. I mean, that's not really, like, who gives a fuck? But whenever it comes down to the actual game and it coming out, I'm going to play the game and I'm going to just try to have fun with the game. Buying a buy-to-play game. I mean, listen, I bought Forspoken. I bought a couple of other games recently that were literal dog shit. So I completely understand somebody who's thinking to themselves, man, I don't want to play this. It could be bad and everything. And my best advice, and this isn't really promotion, okay? Watch somebody who's streaming the game. Watch somebody who's making videos of the game. You know, watch Kanon, watch me, watch Quinn, watch Rhykker, watch somebody else here on YouTube or Twitch, and look at how they're playing the game, look how they're enjoying it, look at the gameplay yourself, and ask yourself the question, does this look fun to me? And if the answer is yes, then it might be the right decision. But if the answer is no, then maybe you should wait for something else. I don't think you should really take any one person's word for it. You should look at the content and see for yourself.
So it's really about playing the open beta, right? There is no obligation to pre-order or purchase anything, which is fantastic. There are not that many open betas anymore. So, and I think Blizzard has a lot of making up to do in the community, right? They've got a lot of goodwill they need to win back. And so an open beta is a great way to do that. You can judge the game on its presentation. There's no expectation to buy anything. You can test out all 5 classes in that second weekend, and you can really figure out if the Diablo 4, you know, path where they're going with the game is right for you.
Well, you get to play for free on the beta weekend. That sounds like a sponsor. You get to play for free on the beta weekend, right? I would say, man, if you have the money, dude, there's nothing better than the launch. I know a lot of people like try to like wait and see if a game is going to turn out to be any good. So my opinion to all of that is if it's something that you've been looking into playing or you're excited to play, but you don't know if you should play because you don't want to spend the money. If you have the money and gaming is a hobby for you, I would definitely not miss the launch. That's the best time of any game. I think it's a priceless experience. But if you're really tight on money, you know, just definitely check it out for free on the beta weekend, see if it's something that you're into, and then you can always just wait to see how the game turns out.
If you like other ARPGs, you'll probably like this game. That's nothing to say about the long term. If you're a super heavy hardcore ARPG fan and you're really into things like the itemization and how the game feels at the 1,000-hour mark, I can't answer that question here today. But at least if you're if you enjoyed this style of game, Blizzard definitely they're gonna deliver a good one if you're even remotely into ARPGs. So I would suggest it just on that aspect.
And they're 100% right. There really is no point in not trying the game out for completely free on the beta test weekend next week. Let me know what you guys think about the video in the comment section below, and we're going to round this one out, sharing and going over some of the final thoughts and words from the content creators that were nice enough to take time out of their busy schedules to help me make this video. Thank you guys so much, and please check out the content creators. All their socials are in the description.
I would just like to tell Blizzard directly to please add a paladin class. Because I'm playing a game about smashing through hordes of demons, and the holy warrior is like, that needs to, where is it? Where's the paladin?
Well, I mean, I can just say that I'm very hyped, and I'm producing a lot of content. So this is definitely like one of the main titles of my gaming career, I guess. I'm gonna be working on this for a long time. So this is definitely something that I am hyped for, that a lot of my community are hyped for. And I think that even the people that are skeptical about it right now will probably also like it once they've tried it.
Final thing, is there anything else you'd like to say or add?
Subscribe to Kanon's YouTube channel. He's almost at 100,000 subs. If you're watching this video right now, subscribing's absolutely free. I know no one subscribes on YouTube anymore. Shit, I don't even subscribe. But he's working really hard to get to 100K subs, and it's one click with your mouse. I'm sure he'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching the video, and thanks for having me.
I have no idea how I'm gonna edit that into the video, bro. Like, what the? I'm not gonna. It's like just everyone's giving like these solid answers, and like it's, bro.
Just add the. Just fucking have it in there.
I mean, shit, it was a great delivery, but like, what the fuck am I gonna do to add? Like, where? At what point in the video?
Just let it. Just let it rip, man.